I'm Brenna Shepard,
And I'm Paul Spencer.
and we are lecturers in academic English. Today we are going to be talking about active reading, some ideas for accessing challenging readings that you may have in your academic English classes or in classes across campus. The very first step that you need to take when you have a new challenging reading that you have to read is to decide what is your purpose. Why are you reading this text? The reason that you think about this is because it's going to decide what kind of notes you take on the reading. So, are you reading for pleasure? Well, probably not, because this is a class and the text has a purpose, such as maybe in order to write an essay, or maybe we will be taking a test on the reading. Okay, so depending on what the purpose is, that's going to decide what kind of notes we take. And today we're going to be talking about annotation or taking notes, different strategies for taking notes.
So, one very effective strategy for taking notes is to make brief summaries of chapters or important sections of the readings that you are doing. This is particularly important for subjects that require a lot of reading because it's very easy to review them later on. And it won't not only help you in academic English, but it'll help you across any subject you are studying in university.
You may also want to list ideas in a Venn diagram or a T-chart. The reason that we would want to list ideas after categorizing them is because this helps your brain organize the ideas into categories, and then you can already start to make connections, which then helps you when you have a test or maybe when you're writing a particular kind of essay.
Now, probably the most common way to take notes or engage with the text is just to underline or to highlight. But we have to stress that you have to be selective about this. You can't just underline or highlight anything without thinking. It has to have a purpose. So it's good to be looking for something as you're doing it. In addition to underlining or highlighting, you can also take some notes in the margins. And this is particularly good if you're looking for examples or quotations. So if you have in your mind an idea of what you're looking for, maybe you have an essay question or a paper question that you would like to answer. And if you see something that's relevant, just take a little note in the side or on a post-it to remind you of this later.
Depending on what kind of learner you are, you may learn better through pictures or graphics. So by taking information in word form and putting it into pictures, this helps people who are more visual learners go through a process or memorize something better. So for example, maybe you are taking a class about astronomy and you need to memorize the evolution of a star. Well, in this example, we see a picture. I got this picture off the internet, but you as the student would draw the process out for yourself. This not only creates a connection between the physical act of drawing, but also the visual picture itself. So drawing out information in graphic form can be really helpful, especially for visual learners.
Another very effective way of engaging with the text is just to make possible questions for yourself or for maybe a study partner as well. So as you read the text or after you read the text, just note down questions that might be relevant to the main ideas or even details. And as you do this, you can go back and you can test yourself or you can test a partner. It's a good way of getting to know the text better.
And finally, one thing that many students fail to do is to note areas of confusion. So you may be surprised by a word, maybe a grammatical construction, or just a concept that you've never really heard of before. If you take note of these little confusions, then you can ask your professor or TA for help later on more easily, or look up a word instead of looking up a whole bunch of words as you're reading. You can go back and then look up the word afterwards. So hopefully today you've learned some new strategies for how to take notes while reading. If you'd like to find out more, you can go to Chapter 12 in Knowing Language, which is all about different strategies for reading. Also, you can watch these two clips here on YouTube. One of them is some key tips for reading just in general, and the other one is an example of annotation. I actually go through a text and show you the kinds of questions and kinds of thought processes that an active, advanced reader takes while reading.